Welcome back to Feel the Magic. Today, Scene 5. Oh, painting. Well, that doesn't seem too hard. All you gotta... Oh. Painter is a minigame that I have issues with. If you're not good at filling in coloring between the lines, painting's gonna give you a lot of trouble. I mean, basically it's just what it looks like. You gotta fill in whatever pictures on the wall in time, while avoiding the strange parachuting men. And that would be fine, except there are a couple of issues with this. First of all, the game is really weird about when it considers a picture to be full. There are a lot of times where you could be furiously swiping across the screen, trying to find whatever little marks you've left out, and the game still thinks you're not finished yet. The time limit, I would rather have there be no time limit, because it gets really tight as the levels go on. And basically, I don't really remember this game giving me too much trouble back when I played it on a DS, so I think maybe in some way it's harder with like a mouse. Maybe it's just because feels more natural coloring in with like a little pen type deal. It feels more like a crayon. I don't like this level in particular because these are really little hearts and it's really easy to just color anything outside. I guess the game is a little bit forgiving on, when it considers you filling outside, but you're usually so pressured to fill up really quickly that you'll end up swiping across the screen and screwing up a chance.
Break time.
Rabbit!
This is actually probably my favorite level in the whole minigame, because it kind of teaches you to multitask. I mean, instinctively you probably want to duck out when everyone's falling down, but you can't really do that here since they move in a line pretty quickly, so you gotta weave your way back and forth. And just filling up the star by itself isn't that hard, and it's probably the easiest to fill up. Like here, it's about to be filled up, and I don't know, I think you could put more in. But level 5 is when we start getting to the real issue, because they start putting in outlines in the middle of the drawings. So I mean, like, that's cute, they're rabbits, but it's hard to tell, like, when you've really filled something up. Is that supposed to be there? Am I supposed to be able to fill that up? Is it screwing up? And just in particular, these rabbits are really an issue. The ears are awful. Like, they're just really small and it's hard to tell where you can and cannot fill in. You definitely have to multitask too in this one. If someone's falling on one side, you work on another. It's also just plain unpleasant when you fill outside the line, like just that big error buzzing noise. It's really grating, and it's almost kind of a shock because you're so concentrated on filling it up within the time that the game kind of just screams at you for screwing up. I don't know, I don't like this game at all. And I think I've only beaten, this is probably only the third time I've ever played it all the way through. Usually I just play the other minigame and ignore this one completely, since that's something you can do, which is nice. If you don't like one minigame, you usually can just play a different one that's in the same scene to progress the story. Look how tight this is. Luckily, that's the harder minigame of the scene out of the way. Of course, even if it is the harder minigame, that doesn't mean this one isn't hardened by itself. Monocycle is also another minigame that requires you to be kind of precise and speedy at the same time. Really, it's a pretty steep curve in difficulty, because before this you could always just be a little bit sloppy with how you use the touchscreen. Now all of a sudden you need to be really careful, just be super concentrated. And I can definitely say that this is much harder on a regular DS because your hand's covering part of the path. So you need to adjust your hand in a way that you can both move the man carefully and not obstruct your view at the same time. It was nice going through it with this with a mouse.
Break time.
So I mean, as you might expect, as the levels go on, the path gets skinnier, thinner, and I mean that's fair. There's a lot more turns, and turns are easily the hardest part because it's kind of hard to tell when you can safely turn without riding off. And now we got diagonals introduced. In hard mode, some part of the pathway actually breaks off and starts moving, and you kind of have to move along with it until it reattaches with the other path. And it gets to a point where it's like, it's really skinny and it's moving, and it takes a long time until it attaches back in. And it's pretty rough. I'm kind of surprised I didn't fall once here. That's good though. So I'll see you guys next time in Scene 6.